Hello and welcome to Intro to Block-Based Programming in Scratch by Codivate. This is Lesson 7. Today we're going to review loops and conditionals, and then most of the lesson will just be exercises applying both of those things. If you want a more in-depth review of the two concepts here, just watch the previous two videos. That will give you a better review. Alright, so briefly, conditionals. We basically have a question that we ask the computer with a Boolean, and then we have two different options. We have if the answer to the question is yes, or if the answer to the question is no. And we can have it one of two ways. We can just have basically the if statement by itself, which is if it's yes, you do something, and if it's not, you skip it. And the other way is to have an else clause after your if, so that you have, instead of just skipping it if it's yes, if it's no, you do something else before coming back to, before they meet up, basically. So instead of just skipping it and going straight to the next thing, it does its own thing and then comes. And then loops there are two types of loops. One of them actually uses conditionals, the other one doesn't. The first one, the basic one, just repeats a number of times equal to whatever you put in there. So you can put whatever number you want in there, and it will repeat that many times. The repeat until loop is kind of like an if statement, but not. Basically, it's going to check if your condition is false. So it's an anti-if statement. So if you're checking is my number, so you repeat until, let's say, repeat until my number is 2 or greater. So if the number is less than that, less than 2, it's going to repeat it. But if it is 2 or greater, it will stop. So you repeat until it's 2 or greater. So let's say it starts at 0. It'll repeat it once. It checks it again, and it keeps repeating it until the number becomes 2 or greater. And remember, there's nothing that explicitly makes a repeat until loop stop running. If you just say repeat until the number is 2 or greater, and then you never ever increase the number inside of your loop, it will just repeat forever. And that's an important thing to watch out for. If you ever click the green flag and nothing happens in your program, but it also doesn't stop running, you may have a infinite loop with a repeat until like this. Alright, now we're moving on to practice. If you want a more in-depth review of those two topics, watch the previous two videos. Alright, so first one. Write a program where the cat asks for a number and then says whether or not the number that you gave them is equal to 5. So pause the video, try to do that, then come back. Alright, so the answer is that you use our ask block, and that's a special block. Let me pull up a Scratch tab to show you. Create. Here we go. Okay, so the ask block shows up here under sensing, and what happens is when you ask for a number, you get a speech bubble here. So actually, let me just implement this whole thing real quick. Alright, there we go. So the ask block tells us that it lets the user input a number. So we say number. I do this, I can type whatever number I want. Then after I type in the number, this bubble here will have that number. So if I type in 4, this answer will actually be 4. So we will say if 4 equals 5. If I type in 6, it'll be if 6 equals 5. So I type in 6, it says nothing. Did I do something wrong here? Do I have a space on this? No. Ask for a number. Type 5. It says equal to 5. I don't know, that must have been a glitch or something. Type 6, it says not equal to 5. Okay? So basically, it's just taking the number you put in and putting it in that if statement. So 3, if 3 equals 5, then something. Well, does 3 equal 5? No, it doesn't, so it'll do the else. So it'll say not equal. Conversely, if I type 5, it says if 5 equals 5, which it does, so it'll do the top half of the if statement. And it'll say equal to 5. That's basically how that works. All right, next one. The extension. If the number was not equal to 5, the cat should say whether the number was greater than 5 or less than 5. A hint is that you just have to insert one extra if statement into this, into the program you just created. Alright, so here's the answer. It's this. So it's the same as earlier, except in the else, there's an extra if statement. There's an if statement inside of it. So we have the first half is the same. It's you ask for a number. If the number is equal to 5, it will say equal to 5. Everything else is in the else. So it'll just end after saying equal to 5. If it's not equal to 5, then we do a second if statement. So if, let's say our number is 4, so this would be false, and it would go here, and it would say if 4 greater than 5. 4 is not greater than 5, so it'll do this else right here. If I type in 6, this will be false, so it'll go here. This will be true, so it'll go here. And notice we didn't have to check if answer was less than 5 to say less than 5. And that's just because of math. We know that if a number is not equal to 5 and not greater than 5, then it has to be less than 5. So here's demonstration. If I type 5, it'll say equal to. If I type 6, it'll say greater than. And if I type 4, it'll say less than. Alright, now here's another extension. Take the program we just made and have it keep repeating until the user says the number 5 is as their answer. So pause it, think about it, come back. So I will demonstrate how you actually create this instead of just showing the answer immediately. So the question was to make it repeat until the user says the number 5. Well, we know a loop that is literally just repeat until, this one. And what's our condition? Until the user says the number 5. And how do we know if the user says the number 5? Well, that means that their answer must equal 5. So it's this right here. So I'm going to make another one of those. Answer, repeat until answer equals 5. What are we repeating until answer equals 5? The program. So the entire thing. But we want to move this. We want to make one extra change here. One extra change. And that is actually, never mind. I would make one more change, which would be to add another ask right here. Because occasionally, this won't work. So if I type this, I type in 5, it says equal to 5. Okay, if I play it again, oh, it asked me. That's interesting. I guess it erases what number is. No, this works. I thought that maybe after you run it the first time, your answer would still have the number 5 in it, but it doesn't. Alright, so we type 6, it says greater than 5. So what happened was it said, okay, it asked for the number, we said 6. If 6 is equal to 5. 6 is not equal to 5, so go to the else. If 6 is greater than 5, it is greater than 5, so we do this. Okay, and then we go to the end. So we go to this arrow here at the end of the loop, and we go back up. And then remember we typed in 6, so this is still 6. And we say, okay, is 6 equal to 5? No, it's not. So go in here and ask again. And it just does that until you type in 5. And it'll say equal to, and then it'll be done. Alright, next problem. Write a program where the user types move up to move the cat down, move down to move it down, left, left, and right for right. And make it repeat that until the user types stop. Now this one's slightly complicated, but try it out. I'll explain it as we go. Alright. So, this is the program. Now I'm going to make it from scratch. Get it? Just to show you guys. So, what were we asking for? We're getting a direction from the user. We're getting a move up, move down, move left, move right. So, we want to ask for something. And it says to repeat that something until the user type stop. So we're going to use a repeat until for this entire thing, and we're going to stop it when the user types stop. And we know the user has typed stop when their answer equals stop. So we've gotten the beginning done. So now, we just put the entire program inside of this repeat until. What do we want to do? We want to ask for direction. And then based on that direction, we want to move the cat. Okay, so if they type moved up, if they typed move up, we want to move it up. Down for down, left for left, right for right. So, we're just going to use 4 if statements. Just 4 if statements in a row. And then we're going to have 4 of these. And we're going to look at the answer and see if it's equal to what we want. So let me get the answer block. So we're just going to say, so if our answer is equal to move up, I think was it? If the answer is equal to up, then we're going to move up. If it's down, then we're going to move down. If it's left, then we're going to move left. And if it's right, we're going to move right. Now, how do we actually get the cat to move up? We have a block that does exactly that, and it's the change y by 10 block. For down, it's change y by -10. For left, it's change x by -10. And for right, it's change x by +10. So there we go. So now this will move the cat depending on what the answer is. So we're just going to put it right after the answer inside the loop. And that's the entire program. You have to, in this, they ask for the direction at the top and then they ask for it at the bottom. But you can also just repeat until the answer stops. Just ask for the direction here. So we say this, ask for the direction. Let's do stop to begin with. It stops. Perfect. Then let's do up. Notice how it moved up, and then it asked me for a direction again. I can type up again. Can keep typing up. What happens if I type something that isn't any of the directions, like this? Nothing happens, and it keeps asking me for a direction. Left, and that is, this is why that happens. So if I type this stuff, what happens is, if I'm just going to type ASDF. So answer is equal to ASDF. So we're checking. Okay, is ASDF equal to up? No. Is ASDF equal to down? No. Is it equal to left? No. Is it equal to right? No. So we just, and there's nothing else, so we just repeat. So that's why it does nothing and repeats. If I type in left, it goes left, right for right, down for down, and then stop ends the program. Just like that. Alright, next question. Write a program where a cat does a smooth front flip and then a smooth back flip. Now by smooth, I mean instead of turning 90 degrees, so we have this weird quarter turn thing, turn a really small number of degrees a lot of times so that the cat looks like it's turning smoothly. Alright. So here's the answer. It's just repeating turn 10 degrees 36 times and then doing it the other way. And that does exactly what we expect it to do. It's going to do some smooth flips. So let's make that. We have repeat 36, turn 10 degrees, and then we have repeat 36 and then turning the other way 10 degrees. And if you look, it does a front flip and then a back flip. Now, how did we know to choose exactly 36 and 10? Well, if you play around with the numbers, you'll figure out that these work. But if you want to know why it actually works, it's because if you multiply these two numbers together, you get 360. And that's the key to getting it to work. I could swap these numbers and go 10 and 36. and it would still multiply to 360, so it does the same thing. But notice how the first flip was much faster and much less smooth. So the more repeats you have and the less degrees you have, the smoother the flip looks. Alright, let's go to the next question. Write a program where the cat moves smoothly in a circle. Okay, and there's a hint here. And the hint is basically to do our smooth front flip, but also make the cat move forward at the same time. So pause the video, try it out. The answer is to just do a front flip, but inside the loop add a move block. So let's do that. Let's take this out. Let's just add a move block right here. Make it move a little bit. Oh, we gotta change these numbers back to what they were. There you go. And now look at that. It does a circular motion. If we take the move away, it spins in place. If we take the turn away, the cat just moves forward a bunch. So if it's moving forward a bunch and spinning, then it's going to move in a circle. That's basically the logic behind that. Next thing is ask the user for the number of times the cat should move in a circle and do that many circles. Okay, well, it's the same movement, so we can use the same code. And really, we're just repeating it some number of times. So let's just take the code and add a loop to it. So we just put a loop here. We repeat answer number of times because it asked us to ask the user for how many times it should repeat. So I can do that right here. I can take a loop, repeat it, answer number of times. How many circles? And then I type in 1, it does 1 circle. I type in 0, it does 0 circles. I type in 2, it does 2 circles. And that's it. That's how it works. Next thing. Write a program where a cat moves smoothly in a square. Now this is slightly harder than the circle one. And here it is. So, remember we want smoothly, not jaggedly. So again, same principle applies. You repeat a large number of times, but your movement is smaller. So we're repeating 50 times of moving to the right by 2. And then down, and then left, and then up. So let me implement that real quick. So here's the implementation. If I click on this, it should move to the right, then down, then left, then up. Right, down, left, and up. Alright? That's basically how you get the cat to move in a smooth square. So now, doing that, we're going to do the same thing as we just did, and ask the user how many times we want the cat to go in a square, and then draw that many squares. So, let's just do that the same way again. Remember, it was just a repeat with an answer number of times. How many squares? And you put answer in here so that it repeats as many times as they say. And then when you do it, if they say 0, nothing happens. If they say 1, it just does it once. And if they say 2 or 3, it'll do it 2 or 3 times. This is going to take a little while. And yeah, that's essentially how it works. It's the same principle as our circle thing. We have the same loop here. We're just changing, instead of drawing a circle, it's drawing a square with this block here. Alright, next problem is, oh, we just saw that. Next problem is combine the previous two programs. So, ask the user if they want to move in a square or a circle. And then if they say square, do the square movement, and if they say circle, do the circle movement. So we already know how to do both of those movements. Here's the circle over here. It's repeating a turn by 10 degrees and moving by 20 steps. That's the circle. This is the square. So now we're just going to have an if statement. We're going to ask them for which shape, and then we're going to have an if statement. Two if statements. We're going to say if the shape is square, then we're going to move square way. And if the shape is a circle, we're going to move the circle way. So if it's square, then move in a square. If it's circle, then move in a circle. And that's it. That's the whole program. So now we can do this. It asks us for which shape. I type in ABCDF, nothing happens. I type in square, it moves in a square. Just like that. I type in circle, moves in a circle, just like that. And if we type in something that's neither square or circle, nothing happens because it's not a shape. So we can't move in something that's not a shape. And this is the same exact thing, except the way this person did it is they had an else, so that if you don't type in square, it'll just default to circle. But either way is valid, depends on what you want. And that is all for this lesson.